Good morning. How are we doing? So, had a question yesterday, I think. So, I'd be interested in your take on the science. It will get lighter in a minute. Just here's my dark. So, I'll be interested in your take on the science that you're wasting your time if you do a workout that's less than 30 minutes, because it takes about 20 minutes to start burning fat. What's your take on this? And firstly, it's not really science, it's a misinterpretation of science. And this is a really interesting one, and one I want to touch on now, of course. So, to think that that's wasting your time, firstly, we know that the biggest benefit of exercise comes from the 0 to 1, like just moving. So, that is where the majority of the benefit comes from. Like, it's always a law of diminishing returns that you have to apply to exercise. We know that's why they've recently talked about doing 5,000 steps a day now. It's not that 10,000 is pointless, but you get such benefits from the first 5,000. Just like doing a half an hour workout, you get such benefits from the first 10 minutes. Insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity. So you look at the stand-up desks, what would be the point of that if you had to do half an hour of exercise? Or walking around the office for 5 minutes, what would be the point? Everything becomes pointless and we do nothing. So you've got to consider, what are they actually measuring here? What are they talking about? What they're referring to. And this is where nutrition confuses people, because people talk about it out of context. And I think that's the issue. Because there's elements of what they've said that's kind of right. That fat can be a fuel and used at a certain point in time. But that's different to losing body fat. So let's talk through this. To lose body fat over the day, you just need to be in a calorie deficit. So let's say in the morning you do some exercise, some walking, you burn some calories, you've cut out a bit at breakfast or lunch, and you're now in a deficit over the day. But there's still times where you eat. When you eat, your body flips into storage mode. So you're not losing body fat at that moment, because your body is going, well, I need to actually, like right now in this moment, we need to get hold of this, we need to use the energy. A bit like you could run out of petrol, but in that day you could have still filled up petrol, but you've just ran out like later on because you just kept going with it. You've got more out than's going in. That is how you lose body fat. Thankfully, as humans rather than cars, we've got a good reserve of energy called body fat. So it's quite difficult. It's more difficult for us to run out. Hence why we have survived this long in terms of, as a species, we can store energy quite rather well and survive for quite large periods. Maybe not optimally. However, what are they referring to then when they say 20 minutes you start burning fat? Now, what they're referring to is the thing you often see on like a treadmill or a machine. And you might see like the fat burning zone. And this has nothing to do with like burning fat as in you're losing fat. But what it's referring to is the energy source your body is using predominantly. So for example, I'm walking right now. My heart rate's relatively low. I can talk. I'm using fat as energy. That's like a long steady. I could walk for miles. And the reason that's more efficient is because, it's not like rapid energy. It's just very efficient at ticking over. So if you had to walk miles, or if you were out there, maybe back when ancestors were hunting or whatever, and they had to survive without food for a period of time and walk around a bit, your fat stores would keep you going for a long time. It takes a while to get into that though. You are into that quite soon. Like sitting down, I'm literally just burning fat. Like like just going for a little walk, my body is using fat as its energy source. So what they're referring to here is kind of the wrong way round, because actually after like 5-10 minutes, if I start to run in a minute, which I will do, I'm going to run. It's a good example actually. I'm going to run a bit faster, and to get that energy source quickly and efficiently, then my body will prefer to use carbohydrates. So it'll switch into using carbohydrates as energy predominantly. Your body's not that black and white. So now I'll be using carbohydrates in about 10 minutes time. Now, the confusion comes in, okay, yeah, but I want to burn fat. It's nothing to do with losing fat. It's just using fat and using carbohydrates as energy. It's a bit like saying we want to keep warm. We can either use coal or wood for the fire. Both of them will produce an outcome, aka heat. Let's just pick one and use it. Now, that is literally it. The energy that's coming out and in is kind of irrelevant to the energy source. It's what happens over the day that counts. So is it keeping us warm for the period of time that we need? Yes or no? Are we getting enough calories in to gain fat, or are we getting enough calories out to lose fat? Are we in a deficit so that our body over the day is just losing body fat? That would count on the balance over the day. If I could lose fat over the day by doing a 2-hour walk, a 1-hour walk, a 30-minute walk, no exercise, simply because I've got less coming in that's going out, because we burn calories just from sitting down doing nothing, just living. So it doesn't necessarily matter whether I'm burning fat as energy or using carbohydrates as energy during the workout. Likewise, I could do high intensity exercise, which uses predominantly carbohydrates, sugars as its preferred source. And equally, over the day, I could lose fat because I've dented into a calorie deficit that with the help of that potentially, but not to mention, you've got all the benefits from exercise, from bone density, health, mindset, mood, you name it. So, in short, there's not really any science behind it being wasted time. I would completely question all of that, of what they said. And yeah, and don't underestimate the power of just doing 5 minutes today, the power of getting in a minute when you feel like it. Because actually, we know that can do a hell of a lot for our mood, a hell of a lot for insulin resistance, a hell of a lot, but also in terms of blood sugar level and also mindset in terms of what we do next. Like if you do one thing, you're more likely to do the next thing. What you do today, you're more likely to do tomorrow. If you do 5 minutes today, you're more likely to do 5 minutes tomorrow. All of a sudden, over the week, you're talking a half an hour workout has been done. And then it's like, oh, yeah, if I do 5 minutes a day, that's like a workout a week. You're on your way to hitting the government guidelines. And it's like, they didn't just set them for no reason. One, they're achievable. Two, they are associated, which you can't argue with better health outcomes. So however you get it in, just get it in. That's the main thing. Hope that helps. Any questions, just let me know. And have an awesome weekend. If you found this helpful, like, share it. And I hope that helps you understand that a bit more. Because it is quite a topic, actually. So have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon.